You're at the start of something very, very big. You're going to see that very soon. Now, exactly 250 years after the first patriots stood and fought at Lexington and Concord, we're in the midst of another kind of revolution, a revolution of winning and a revolution of common sense. Common sense.
President Donald Trump just wrapped up his commencement address at the University of Alabama, marking a historic occasion for the university. It's the first time a sitting U.S. president has spoken at the university. Wave 31 tonight bringing you team coverage at 10. Our state capitol reporter Philip Green covered the tide against Trump protests to bring us that perspective. But first, we're going to Wave 31 morning anchor Chris Tatum. Chris is live outside Coleman Coliseum tonight with a look at what unfolded there.
And Nicole, first of all, the president wrapped up his speech around 8:30 this evening here at Coleman Coliseum. He told this graduating class, or about to graduate class, to choose something they love, pursue it with passion, and never, ever, ever, he said, give up. This Coliseum was packed to capacity this evening, and that audience was on its feet the entire time the president spoke, from the very first two words he spoke.
Roll Tide. Roll Tide. The food has gone down and mortgage rates are down. And
those words, President Trump was off and running. So he, of course, definitely took some jabs at Democrats, at some federal judges. He took the opportunity to brag about some of his accomplishments in his first 100 days in office, and he pulled no punches on some issues that he has proven are important to him. Things like immigration, the economy, downsizing the federal government, all topics of his speech here tonight. He even gave Huntsville a shout out for its role in the space race and told this graduating class that they would be the generation that will one day land on Mars. What we saw tonight, though, was, for me certainly, a different Donald Trump than what we usually see. He was jovial and comical. He told jokes. He did impressions and impersonations, and he actually felt very comfortable, it was clear, with this audience, and they constantly gave him thunderous applause, especially when he named off several Alabama cities and attractions, including that big body of water he recently renamed.
You've lived in the great state of Alabama, one of the greatest of them all, from Huntsville to Birmingham, from Montgomery to Mobile, and from right here in Tuscaloosa. To the gleaming shores of the Gulf of America.
And joining me live right now to talk further about President Trump's speech here tonight, we have the Alabama Republican Party Chairman John Wall. As I just said, for me, a different Donald Trump than we often see. What was your takeaway?
No, I completely agree with you. And look, this is Donald Trump back on the campaign trail, if you will. Like when he's out, instead of talking policy at the White House or to the mainstream media, he was talking to people. And that's where Donald Trump thrives. He loves to engage with the average, everyday American. And I want to highlight how impressive it is that the commander-in-chief, the most powerful man in the entire world, taking the time to come to Alabama and speak to young people. I think that really highlights what Donald Trump's priorities are, and how important both Alabama are, but also the future generation, the leaders that are going to take our country forward.
Was there any particular thing from the president's speech tonight that just stood out to you?
Well, I think what stood out was that some of what you brought up. It's the fact that when Donald Trump is more comfortable, when he's not under the pressure, when the lights, aren't, when there's not jabs out for him, when he's able to be himself, he comes across much lighter. It's a much more positive speech, and really he talks about the issues that are important to the people.
And to me, I got the impression that Donald Trump truly loves Alabama and truly appreciates the values that he aligns with, that a lot of Alabamians align with.
Look, when you see the first couple lines of his speech were Roll Tide,
right,
and he talks about winning Alabama by 45 points, and he's like, on election day, I looked at Alabama and bam, it was already over. I think you're right. The people of Alabama and Donald Trump have a special relationship. And this is something we've seen. This is his fifth visit to the state of Alabama in 4 years. And we're getting more than our share. And I think it speaks to our state's rising level when it comes to national politics and especially the conservative movement.
Right. And John Wall, thank you for stopping by to talk to us tonight. And we do appreciate your perspective on the president's speech. Again, President Trump here tonight spoke for about an hour. And of course, folks here really did seem to appreciate the fact that he came here, that he gave his time to the University of Alabama, the first ever sitting president to deliver a commencement speech here on this campus. Reporting live from Tuscaloosa, I'm Chris Tatum, Way 31 News.